Namo. Thanks so much for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The fourth mindfulness training, where the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and to relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I'm determined to speak truthfully, with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news that I do not know to be certain, and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or the community to break. I'm determined to make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. For our Dharma lessons, we're now reading More Than Mindfulness, Widening the Field of Practice by the Monastics of Abhayagiri Monastery. Today we're continuing and completing a Dharma talk by Ajahn Sumedho called Mindfulness with Wisdom. We can recognize change in some ways, like the changing of the seasons. But what doesn't change? What is it that doesn't change when all the changingness is going on? Does mindfulness change? If it's always going out to objects, then it changes from one object to the next because you can see the desultory movement of mental states. For example, you hear something and then you see something, and then you are distracted into feeling some unpleasant physical sensation, such as an itch or an irritation. Then a mosquito bites you and you feel annoyed. You know how the mental states change according to the conditions. You're caught in that incessant movement, caught in the desultory movement. We begin to see this as just the habits of being identified with the senses and their objects. And with that identification, we suffer accordingly. The ego is where we operate from when there is ignorance. But when we see that our true nature is awareness, there is conscious awareness of the senses and their objects, then the personality, the ego, becomes an object rather than a subject. If you disagree with me because you don't feel the same way, or you have a totally different view of what I'm saying, then we get into arguments, and you're not aware of what you're doing. You're just operating from your intellect or your personal feelings in the moment. You're operating out of habit, from conditioning, from biases and prejudices, which are all objects that arise and cease. There is no wisdom in that. There is just habit. The Dhamma is a refuge in Theravada Buddhism. We can take refuge in the Dhamma and still be totally ignorant. We may not even know what Dhamma is. We just believe in something called the Dhamma, but we are not aware. And that's a belief. Is taking refuge in the Dhamma something you believe in? Or is the Dhamma as a refuge something that is reality, that is recognized through wisdom and awareness? With wisdom and awareness, you can let go of the desires that we tend to blindly hold to and act upon all the time. You can let go of the causes of suffering. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Namo. Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.